Everyone goes through it. You should keep going. Don't quit. Don't crash out. Just keep going. Make a new plan. Try something else. And keep it moving.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back. Welcome back also to me. It's been a few days since I have poured any candles or actually done any work in here at all, much less any recording or anything like that. We recently had a busy week. It was Easter as well as my son's first birthday. We had some family in town. We went camping, so we took, a couple days to go camping and just be with our loved ones and kind of take it easy. And I kind of unplugged from this for a minute, but I am pleased to be back. And today I have a few jars that I recently de-waxed and cleaned, and I am ready to start pouring again. There have been quite a few changes since the last time I filmed as far as some decision making that has occurred. So let's talk about what we're going to be doing today and what things look like going forward. What's this bread doing in here? Okay, so I thought it would be fun to just kind of catch up and talk about what has been evolving as testing has been going on in the background, because just because I wasn't pouring anything doesn't mean I necessarily wasn't conducting tests. So a couple of big developments. One fragrance, which I think I had revealed this previously, one fragrance completely flopped in the first round and has been replaced by a new fragrance. I'm reluctant to say that it's similar. It's not similar. It's so much better, and I'm excited about this change. I have done one round of testing on this new replacement fragrance, but it's a pretty heavy, heavier, thicker, more complex fragrance. So both of the wicks that I had, which was a 12 and no, I apologize, it was a 14 and a 16, both of those were underwicked. So we are moving to an 18 for that particular fragrance. And I'll be pouring that one soon. I don't think I'm going to do that today, but once I have another jar ready to go, I'm going to try that one with a CD 18. Additionally, I had another fragrance which I had been very, very sure about before. I still love this fragrance, but I feel like it's not, now that I've tested it a couple of times, I don't think it's the right fragrance for this signature line of scents. So I have omitted the cypress type fragrance from the line. I don't think it's gone forever, but this is just what happens during testing. I think it's best to just not get too attached to anything, because they, some fragrances fail or they don't work with the wax. It's really hard to get the performance that you're looking for. And the bottom line is that I'm trying to offer a candle that performs beautifully, is safe, and is just a pleasant experience for the end user. And I didn't think that that was what was being relayed by that particular fragrance. So I had made that kind of tough decision to go ahead and omit that fragrance from testing going forward, and it has since been replaced by another fragrance. Again, I'm pleasantly happy with the change. I think it's a good change. I think that if you guys were, in my brain with me thinking about what would be universally accepted or liked by most customers, I think that this is a smart move, and it still matches with the kind of intention and name and story behind that particular candle, that fragrance name that I have, which is, which one is it actually? Which is Small and Sacred. I still think that this particular fragrance story lines up So I'm really excited to try that new fragrance as well going forward. What else has been going on? With Mercy Morning, this is still one of my all-time favorite fragrances ever. It's still going strong. It is about to start the second round of testing. I previously had done a 10 and a 12 with this fragrance. Again, it's a little bit of a heavier fragrance. There's teak wood, musk, leather, things like that. It's a little bit too heavy for the 10 and the 12. So I am moving up to a 14 with this fragrance and hoping that's going to be the right fit. I have decided to try an eco wick with that. I don't at this present moment, I don't think that's that important. I don't think it will work, but when I made the decision to pour it, I wanted to just kind of get some experience under my belt with eco and just see the difference. And I did run a test, not with this fragrance, but with the cypress fragrance with an eco and a CD wick, when I thought I was going to continue with that cypress fragrance. And there was a huge difference in the way they burnt, and I did not like how the eco wick looked. And I'm not saying that I couldn't make it work with an eco. I probably would just need to go up probably at least 2 sizes, but it didn't look great. So going forward, I don't think I will try to go into eco wicks for any of these, but it's possible, and I have them just in case. So that's what's going on with the Mercy Morning fragrance. We're going to move up to a 14. We'll test an eco 10 just because I have it already. If it fails out quickly, we'll just go ahead and remove it from the test group and use that jar for another fragrance. I think the plan today will be to pour a couple testers for Small and Sacred with the new updated fragrance selection. We're going to use a CD 10 and 12 for that particular fragrance. It's a little bit lighter, so I'm really hoping that the 10 is the answer. The 12 might be too hot, but we will see. I'm going to skip over the tender hours at the moment because I know that wick is probably going to be an 18, and I'm just going to wait till I have another single jar available to test that one. And the other two I think I'd like to pour today will be Woven Wonder, which is going to be more of a sweet gourmand type scent. So I think I'm going to start with a CD 12 and 14 for that. It's possible that those will not be big enough, but we will see. We will see how it goes. I am apprehensive to start with a 12 and 14. I really wonder if they're going to be strong enough for that fragrance, but we'll give it a try. And finally, I think I will do Borrowed Time. And Borrowed Time is a going to be like a citrusy type scent. I feel like that's an essential type scent in every signature line. That's just my opinion. I think that citrus scents are pretty universally well loved. So I want to go ahead and start that test with a 10 and a 12 CD wick today. So let's go ahead and clean up our jars a little bit more with some alcohol, label them appropriately, and get started on our wax in the melter. The other item that needs to be done on my to-do list is I am working on basically making a warming chamber for my jars. I have tried to use a heat gun and it works, but it is really cumbersome running back and forth, and it just wasn't working. It worked. The outcome was good. However, it's just a lot of back and forth. It's a little too cumbersome. I don't know how I would be able to reproduce that when I'm doing a larger volume of candles. I don't think it's reproducible. So I am going to try to fashion myself a warming chamber with a germination mat and one of my cardboard boxes that I have from some jars that previously shipped. I'm going to plan to remove the bottom part and of the box and just lay a flat piece of cardboard over my mat, maybe a thin towel, jars on top of that, towel on top of the box. So we'll try that today and just see if we can get our jars pre-warmed for 15 to 30 minutes before we pour in them. They should feel kind of like a warm mug of coffee. That's what I'm going to go for. And of course, we're going to keep our temperature a little bit warmer in the room, probably between 73 and 75 degrees, to try to get the best outcome aesthetically with these candles. Smoother tops, less frosting, less sinkholes. So let's go ahead and do all those things. We got quite a to-do list. Okay, my jars are all clean and labeled. We do have to wick these still, but I think I'm going to go ahead and work on the warming chamber now before my son goes down for a nap. Let's go. All right, here's my box. And I actually used this last time, so it does have, unfortunately, some wax strips in it, but we're going to continue to utilize it. I think it has a lot of life left in it. So let's do this. I'm going to remove, let's go ahead and remove this. And as you can see, they add another layer of cardboard in here for shipping, which I'm going to keep this. It's a little bit thinner, so the heat will be able to hopefully go through this thin layer of cardboard. And I'm going to remove these flaps at the bottom because this is just way too thick, and the seed mats are not hot by any means, obviously. So it will not go through this thick cardboard. So let's remove these flaps here and see how this goes. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm just gonna actually, I'm not even gonna probably put this together. I'm literally just going to place everything. I don't think it needs to be put together. And I also don't want to make more work for myself by putting it together and having to take it apart if it doesn't work. So let's just place everything how we intend to use it today and see how it looks. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a seedling mat here. It gets just nice and pleasantly warm, so I'm hoping it will just gently warm my jars, but we will see how that goes today. I just plugged it in for this pouring session, so let's go ahead and just build our chamber on top of this. And I'm just gonna go put the border around it. I know this probably seems a little bit unconventional and maybe not professional, but I'm willing to try all sorts of things to get the product that I'm looking for to eventually sell to my customer. So if this type of thing works well, I will eventually get a more sophisticated setup that, you know, replicate this in a more sophisticated way. But for right now, this is what we're working with. And we'll just see if it helps. I'm gonna kind of keep an eye on this as time goes on today to see how warm this cardboard is getting, if I need to add a thin towel or not. And I'm also gonna add the dividers in here. Okay, so that's basically what I'm gonna do. This is very thin cardboard, so I'm hoping that the heat from the mat will rise up through there. And then I'm also going to drape a towel over them once I get all of the jars in there to kind of pre-warm. And yeah, we're just going to see if it works. I know it seems a little bit, you know, kind of, I know it looks like a heap of garbage, but let's just see if it works. It's kind of one of those things like different strokes for different folks. Some people like to use the heat gun. Some people don't need to use a heat gun. They somehow just like have magic in their fingers and their candles turn out beautiful. I don't know. Or maybe they just don't talk about it. Who knows? That's totally up to them. But my candles sometimes have sinkholes. And I am a new maker and I'm just trying to, you know, tweak variables here and there. It's almost like a science experiment. So let's just humor me today and see if this warming chamber will help. Let's go wick our jars. Okay, jars look good. I went ahead and placed wick bars on these. They're labeled, they're wicked, they're looking good. So let's go ahead and get our wax in the warmer. Okay, while my wax is melting, I'm gonna grab my fragrance oils. I'll be right back. Okay, I have all my fragrances poured. I'm really excited because one of them is actually a combo that I am testing myself. So I'm hoping that it will turn out good. It does smell beautiful just in the beaker, so hopefully it will turn out great in the wax. Wax is melted. Let's check and see what the temp is. Okay, wax is up to temp. It's definitely hot enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab wax for our first candle and set that aside and let it come down to about 190 and then add our fragrance. And we're stirring for 2 minutes. Okay, the temp on this after stirring is already 160, so I'm gonna hurry up and pour this before it gets down past 160. Okay, so the wax for my first set of candles cooled like very, very quickly despite the room being at about 75 degrees. I added my fragrance at about 185-ish and I poured at about 160. So in the 2 minutes that I was stirring my wax and my fragrance, it dropped significantly despite it being very, very warm in here. Have them in the warming chamber. The jars were just barely warm, so obviously I will eventually turn the warming element off. But I still need to pour 4 more candles, so I'm going to leave it for right now since it's extremely gentle and I have them covered with a towel. So I will eventually just turn that off when I'm done pouring, but for right now they are in the warming chamber and fingers crossed that it makes some sort of difference. I'm gonna run my bread dough downstairs so we can pop this in the oven for dinner tonight. Okay, the temp is now about 194, so I'm going to actually pour the fragrance for these next two at about 190 just because of that very rapid cooling curve. In the meantime, I'm going to grab some more wax for my last set of candles and I will check that wax in just a moment. All right, 190, let's go. Let's pour these in really quick. Our wax, our second set of candles in. This is for Woven Wonder, which is the gourmand, kind of sweeter scent. I'm really excited about this one, although it's not like my vibe. I know it's the vibe of many out there, and I think it's important that it be included in the lineup, you know, some kind of sweet scent. And the best way I can describe it is like, doesn't smell like sugar cookies, doesn't smell like pie. It kind of smells like know, maybe like grown up vanilla, like almost like coconut, vanilla, amber tanning oil or something. I don't know. To me, it's really sophisticated and sweet and seductive, and not at all like immature or overly sweet in any way. I think it's a really, really pleasant, sweet scent. Still are about 163, but I'll be honest, I don't care. I'm gonna go ahead and pour it. Okay, I just stirred my wax. It just needs a couple more minutes and we'll check the temperature. I also turned off my warming mat, so the jars are probably as warm as they're going to get at this point. It's definitely been at least 30 minutes, so they won't get any warmer. So I'm just going to leave them on the mat and covered, and hopefully this will slow the cooling curve enough to avoid any aesthetic ugliness and also to lessen the sinkhole probability. Let's check the temp on this wax so we can pour these. Okay, got a couple minutes. We're just gonna try. We will see. Okay, the temp is about 160 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and pour these last two. This is the candle called Borrowed Time, which is a citrusy scent. Very refreshing. Okay, all of these are secure.
Okay, good morning. It is the next day, and I wanted to share these results with you guys. Unfortunately, this did not go great, but this is the reality of trying different tricks or techniques as a new candle maker, and part of being honest about how the journey goes is showing when it doesn't go well. So as you can see, we've got like some swirling, cratering, sinkholes, just very uneven. Whoops, sorry, my finger's in the way. Very uneven cooling. At best, this is the best candle, and it's got a giant hole here. So the conclusion that I can draw here is that these were over insulated. So I'm going to make some adjustments and pour another candle this afternoon to see if my adjustments are a good fix. But the conclusion I can draw here, I believe, is that the jars were warmed appropriately, but too much warmth was trapped for too long, and they cooled way too slow. So we will try some different techniques, and we'll try to keep you updated on what worked and what didn't. So as you can see, I went ahead and poked some relief holes in these, and I warmed the top with the heat gun. They're not going to be perfect, but they'll be good enough for wick testing, and I've learned some valuable information here.
All right, guys, so that concludes today's session. I'm really excited to see how these turn out, and when I start testing in a couple of weeks, I will be sure to let you know how it went as far as sinkholes and aesthetics, if the warming chamber was helpful or not. I'll probably have something up on my Instagram sooner, like a quick little reel or something explaining, how they look before they burn. So be sure to follow me on Instagram at Chronicle Home Co. if you're not already. I also want to take a minute to thank everybody who has been joining me on this journey. Thank you for subscribing. I think there's 17 of you, which is just crazy to me, honestly, that 17 people even have any interest in what I have to say. And some of you probably even know me in real life, which is an even higher compliment. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me in real life as well as on YouTube. I appreciate your support. If you are not subscribed, please go ahead and do that. If you like this content or if you want to see how the brand develops and evolves over time, I'd love to have you along for the ride with me. And then I also want to thank anyone who ever comments or likes any of the videos. I really appreciate that support. Thank you for spending your time here. I'll see you again soon.